Welcome to the channel. Recently I've been getting into time lapses, and I wanted some movement. So I wanted to replicate the look of a slider or rail without needing to spend the $500 or so that would be required for a nice one. So I went for a DIY solution. I had Legos on hand, so I chose to repurpose some Legos and RC components for my remote control planes. And here's the first test. The test was promising, and it seemed to work well, but it had some issues too, such as the speed not being right, and also the train wheels would get stuck on the track sometimes, and it would lose traction. Then I created the final version after a few others, so I had about 4 different versions. And the final version is 4-wheel drive to reduce slippage, and uses 125 to 1 gear ratio. It uses a small DC servo motor, an old broken speed controller as a 5-volt regulator, an old receiver that's also broken as a power distribution board, and a simple 2-cell LiPo battery for power. So it was time for testing. I learned that it could be a little fidgety to get the focus right and all the settings, because the initial test told me that the speed of the time lapse was a little too fast, so I went from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. It also required something in the foreground to tell that the movement was happening, but the fact that it was comparable at all to an expensive rig was impressive to me, and also the modular rail system was very helpful because I was using Legos. Also, in the future I could use an Arduino to modify the speed of the motor, which would also make it quieter if I decided to make it slower. So that will be helpful. Here's a 360-degree time lapse that I filmed. I think it turned out pretty well. Feel free to let me know in the comments whether or not the movement helped these time lapses, and whether the effect was cool. And here's a sunset I filmed. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe.